Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Pamela and this is Pamela World. In today's video, I'll be telling you all about my trip to Singapore and how you can also make it. If you're new here, you're welcome. If you're a return subscriber, thank you for coming back. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and do all to turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload new videos. Before you travel anywhere, one of the very first things you need to do is do a lot of research about the country and any other thing you would like to know. And I've written everything down, so I'll follow as we go. And the first thing you have to do is research on whether your country needs a visa or not. And the good thing about Singapore is that it offers free visa to a lot of countries. So even countries like Ghana, for example, you could have a free visa to go for 30 days. So you need to check that if your country has a free visa to the country. That's one of the most important things when you are going to Singapore. So if you check and you require a visa, you would have to go to the Singaporean embassy to do so. And I'm talking in terms of someone who left Asia to Asia, that's Japan to Singapore. I'll tell you more about Ghana to Singapore as we go along. And the good thing is that Ghanaians don't need a visa to go to Singapore. All you need to do is book your tickets and get your SG arrival card. And your SG arrival card can be booked up to 3 days prior to your travel, and it includes a declaration of your travel and your health status as at the time you are traveling. Another thing about the SG arrival card is that if you've not done that even up to the point of check-in, you can do so. At Scoot, the counter had a QR code where I could scan and just fill the form online. So if you've not done that before checking in, don't worry. At check-in, they would ask you because they know it's a requirement at the immigration, and you would do that. I booked my airplane ticket with Scoot Airlines, which is a limited liability company of Singaporean Airlines. And just as you know, for limited liability companies, they're usually cheaper compared to the main airline. Just like we have Spring Japan in Japan here, which belongs to a Chinese company, and their fares are relatively cheaper compared to other airlines that use the same routes. So Scoot is also cheaper compared to Singaporean Airlines. So the prices were very good. After you book your ticket, the next thing you need to do is get a hotel or a hostel. The difference between the two is that if you are going in a group, booking a hotel is much cheaper and much more affordable. But if you are going alone, a hostel is way cheaper. And we booked our hotel, I'm saying we because we were two. We booked our hotel using Agoda, and we stayed at the Furama Riverfront. Later on, I'll give you an updated review of what I think about the hotel and also how the hotel looks like, because I took some videos to share with you all. The third thing you would have to do is download some apps. Singapore being a new place compared to Japan, you will need to download different apps. For instance, in Singapore, you need to download Grab. Grab is more like the Uber we know in Ghana, Japan, Bolt or Yango. And Grab is what Singaporeans use. You would find most people ordering Ubers, I would say, on Grab. Yes, because they use Grab more often. So you will need to download Grab. The second thing you will need is Google Chrome. You will need Google Chrome because you will need Google Maps from Google Chrome. So you can download the Google Maps and use that as well. The third app you will need is My Transport. It's an app that Singaporeans use. You have details on the MRT, which is the bus system that they use. You also have details on buses that are available, and you would also have details on taxis you can use and how long the distance would be. Also, you can find all these on Google Maps. So My Transport will be just another option you have. And I think I downloaded the My Transport on my trip, so it made it much easier for me to know. And you can use the Google Chrome or My Transport interchangeably because they give the same information. The fourth thing you need to do is save. Singapore is not cheap. I mean, Singapore is a city and a country. It's said to be one of the highest tourist destination sites, And so many things happen there, such as tourism. There's a lot of good food, and all these come at a cost. So you would have to save if you really want to enjoy your trip. The next thing I'll recommend you do if you want to go to Singapore is have a budget. Look out places you would like to visit. Thankfully, there are so many channels and websites that you can find information on places you can visit in Singapore. Look at the ones that you are interested in. If you like more of the zoos or the aquariums, the night safaris, the cloud forest, read about all of them. As I spoke about research, read about all of them and choose the places you want to go to and make a budget. Going on a budget is very important because so many things can take your attention and you end up finishing the trip but not going to most of the places you wanted to go to. Yes, there are some free tourist sites, but the very thrilling ones are not free, so you have to buy tickets for them. One thing about budgeting for your trip is that you should know if you are buying from some third-party sites. For some third-party sites, when you buy the ticket, you can use it immediately, and depending on the tourist sites, you can use the tickets immediately. But for other places, you will have to book the tickets 2 days before time. This way it will save you wasting money buying a ticket twice for the same activity. So always check out if you need to buy the ticket way in advance. Most of these places you want to visit also have their original sites, so you can also buy directly from them. Next thing I'll talk about is the MRT Pass and the SG Pass. You will need an MRT Pass to move from one MRT station to another. The MRT stations are the ones we call train stations here in Japan, what we call eki. So in Singapore, they are referred to as MRT stations. So you will need these MRT passes to move from one MRT station to another. So they come in very handy because all you need to do is tap and go. And without it, you might not be able to use a lot of their transport system. However, credit cards also work very well. So if you plan to use your credit card, which I highly recommend, make sure you go to your bank and let them know you are traveling for a visit to another country. I learned there's an international way they would let you operate your card. Some credit card companies don't require that, but if you're from a country like Japan, you need to alert your bank that gave you the credit card that you are traveling. Then they would open that portal or site for you to freely use your credit card when you travel to Singapore. And with the MRT Pass, you could also get the EastLink card, which is also the same. They do the same thing, so you don't need to worry so much if you have either of them. However, there's something called the SG Pass, and that is worth $10 per day. So to get that, you need to pay 10 Singaporean dollars per day, and you have to exhaust it all in one day. It has advantages and disadvantages. If you go to 1 billion sites in a day, you'll be able to still use that card. However, if you are not able to exhaust it in one day, it has expired and you will need to get another refill for another $10. So it's much more convenient to have the MRT Pass, so you load as you go and use as you go. However, if you have a short stay and you plan to stay in Singapore for maybe a day or two, that would be very helpful. Another thing you should try and do research on before you leave for Singapore is the weather. You should also find out the best time to visit. I visited from August to September, which was one of the very best times to go. It rained just once or twice, but it still did not affect the fact that we could go sightseeing. So do a lot of research and find out the best time to go, and that will help you enjoy your trip. Because if it rains throughout your trip, you would have to stay indoors most of the time and you cannot do some outdoor activities. So do well to check out the weather before you choose a time for your trip. Next, determine how long you want to stay in Singapore. Know that the more you stay, the more you will spend. So determine how long you want to stay and prioritize activities you really want to do. That will help you enjoy your trip and have a more fulfilling trip. So you can decide to stay 3 days, 5 days, or up to a week, and you'll be able to do a lot in that short time because you can go around Singapore in one day. It's just that you will not be able to visit all the tourist sites in one day. So determine how long you want your trip to be to make the best out of it. And whilst you're determining how long you want your trip to be, make your itinerary. days you want to go where and how long you want to spend where. There are some places like the Kusu Island and the other islands located close to it, like the St. John's Island. You can do all those things in a day, so you need to write them down and decide. There are some things too you can do at any point in time. For example, the water show at the Marina Bay front, you can do that anytime. So just group them together and develop your itinerary. Another amazing thing about Singapore is that there are lots of English speakers, so you don't need to worry. You will definitely get someone to ask questions. And anytime you're going to a new country, one thing you should try and find out is the language that is spoken in that country. And for Singapore, if you speak English, you are good to go because you get so many people speaking English. Singapore is a totally beautiful country, and you have so many people who live there. And you have the native Singaporeans, you have Chinese Singaporeans, Indian Singaporeans, and Malay Singaporeans. These are all citizens of Singapore, and they have helped to develop their own country. Currently, their new president is even an Indian Singaporean. So that should show you how diverse the community is over there. You'll find people from different races, a lot of tourists wherever you go. Next, you have to shop for the weather. The weather is really hot but not humid, and you have to pack things you would need. You would need an umbrella, you would need a bottle, you would need some sunscreen and some really cool and light clothes. This will help you enjoy your trip as you do a lot of walking. You would also need comfortable sneakers as you would walk a lot. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and in my next videos I'll be telling you all about the places I visited in Singapore. If you're new here, you're welcome. Do all to stay by subscribing, and if you're a return subscriber, thank you for coming back. Bye. See you in my next video.